Taken a while to start. Oh,
there.
and I think we have liftoff. Welcome, everyone, to the first ever Light and Love Transformational Tarot Summit. I'm really excited to be kicking off today with Moira Hutchinson, who is going to be talking to us about intuition on one hand, limiting beliefs on the other, and gosh, I bet we've all had those experiences where we're thinking, am I just fearing something, or am I intuiting something, or did I make that happen even by fearing it, or was it an intuition? So Moira's also got a great little checklist that you'll get if you stay all the way through the Q&A. We'll be off about 60 to 90 minutes depending on the Q&A. There's an offer with Moira at the end. She's got 40% off letting go and finding your flow reading with her. So that's awesome. You can only get that offer on this webinar. And those of you that stay live will also be getting Tiff's and Moira's intuitive bundle, which is the little checklist. So you can work out about your limiting beliefs and your intuitive flow, so you can actually have something there in front of you to help you discern when you're in that place and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, am I fearing this, or is it an intuition? You can just go, I'd print it out if I were you and just stick it up there or put it on your screensaver, and then you can just go, yes, thank you, Moira. So that will be coming through to you if you stay live till the end, along with my Manifest a Miracle workbook, which also fits in to what Moira is going to be doing with us today. We've got a jam-packed session for you today because Moira has got a lot of knowledge. She's a very busy woman. I don't know how she's found the time to write 4 books, is it, Moira?
4 books.
4 books.
2 books and then co-authored in 2.
Amazing. And I really love the first one I saw because I'm obviously in a very Ruby mood today, and you've got a book called Ruby Red Shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was really intrigued by that. Empowering stories on relationships, intuition, and purpose, which of course is big keys for transformative tarot because it's all very much about finding those things inside of yourself. Absolutely. And then you also got Letting Go So You Can Thrive.
Yep.
And you started that book and then you changed track and created your deck. Is that right?
That's right. I was writing this whole idea of letting go, which is actually my whole brand now, is I help people let go of what's not serving them, which goes into that idea of the limiting beliefs. But then I developed my own deck of cards on the just to help us access what is it that's keeping us maybe feeling stuck or questioning, or I'm making this up, or did I make that happen? That kind of thing. So that's why I developed those.
That's fantastic. I was watching an interview earlier with you actually, and you said you were an A-type in it. What did you mean by an A-type? What's an A-type? Can you tell us?
An A-type is somebody who's always doing, always busy, always saying, yes, I'll show up for that, and yep, of course I'll do that. Which is not the best thing, because that's part of my story too, is I've burnt out 3 times in my career.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. All right. So
learning,
hence the letting go and finding your flow type of thing.
Exactly.
Clearing, and because that's also, you've developed the letting go process as well. Yeah. So that's something that you specialize in.
Yes, it is. It's a 5-step process that I take people through to. It's something that I developed just by witnessing how to let go of stuff, mindset and habits and limiting beliefs sort of thing. And I just started seeing a theme. And so I developed this process, and it's actually 5 steps. And that's what I write about in my book. But this is actually what I do in my practice. In my coaching practice, I do tarot card readings, and I'm gently taking people through this process, which is just very briefly, because this is kind of a wee bit of a tangent of what we're doing today, is the 5 steps are awareness, acceptance, action, adapting, and aspiring. And there's whole bodies of works and whole techniques and things, but that's basically, they're all A's, and that's how it, and the tarot would actually apply to each one of those steps, that we can, awareness doing a tarot, even a 3-card tarot reading would be brilliant to see awareness of what's going on. What's going on with you internally? How are you thinking about yourself? How are you talking about yourself? And then acceptance. That's the crucial part. And I often say to people, you can't change anything about yourself unless you accept what is. So let's say at the awareness part, you discover, oh, I have a propensity to be an A-type person, right? Then
Hence all the A's. Yes.
Exactly. And so, exactly. And so then I can't change that until I just say it is what it is. Because so often we have this tendency to look within us and see something that's maybe negative. Maybe I have a habit of saying yes to everything, or maybe I have a tendency to overeat or smoke or drink, or anything that's kind of dampening your spirit. You can't change that or release it until you say, right now, this is what's happening.
Okay, can you go through the A's again? Because I guess people could even do a tarot spread for like a card for you're saying awareness, and then acceptance, and then
action.
Action.
Now you got to do something. And
Law
so
of
you're right,
attract
that would be
action.
brilliant. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then adapting. So adapting is where, because you've got insights being brought to you at the awareness, at the acceptance, and then you're doing something, and then you can kind of pause and say, is this taking me towards what I want and what feels right to me? Because now you're increasing your intuition. You're starting to open up and clear the connection to your higher self. So you become somebody new. That's what adapting is. And so you're right. A tarot card right there would be brilliant, because who are you becoming? Who do you want to become?
That's such an important question. So much more important than even who am I? Is it who am I becoming is really important.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a crucial one, because when we do that, who am I? You can have these wee inner voices saying, well, you're schmuck. You're a loser. You're not aligning with what you truly are at the core. That's not going to help you. And so even right there, that could be happening at the awareness stage, and then you have to accept it. But then the action could be, now I'm going to reframe it into saying, who am I becoming? Who do I want to become? Right?
It's a really good question. I think it's actually one we could ask people that have joined us. Because I see we've got quite a few people here today, so thank you for joining us live.
Hello, everybody.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you could stick in the chat box, where you're calling in from, and who are you becoming, or what would you like to let go of today? Because Moira's also going to be doing, after her presentation, some one-card draws for you as well. So this is an interactive process. We do encourage participation and action. It's not one of those webinars where we're just talking and not hopefully you're on your Facebook or something like that. It's like, show up here, be present.
It's Saturday, so we can be chill. And I actually really thoroughly enjoying the questions that you're asking, Tiffany. But if anybody on the audience has any questions, or what we're sharing brings up something, just pop the question in there and we'll make sure that we get back to you and make this for you.
It's exactly it. Yeah. If you're putting the effort in to show up live, then we want to reward that. Hence, the bonuses that you're getting. And we do want to make it a really personable session, so you get your value from it. And that does mean interacting. There is no silly question or anything like that. So feel free to fill your boots. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to give a little background on Moira while she is, because she's the expert on Moira, and I'm just a Leo that hugs the limelight. And then Moira's going to go into her presentation, which I'm sure you can see is like full of such amazing knowledge that, you know, we're kind of like, oh, it's all brimming up and we're nearly doing it already, but we're going to go back to the introduction first. And then there'll be the one card draws and the Q&As. But of course, the one card draws, you're going to have to say you want it. But I think it's probably better if you say that you want that at the end. I mean, I will be trying to keep track of the comments for everyone. That's my job here today. But if you feel like, if you think that I've missed you or anything like that, it's not a personal favoritism thing. It means that I just haven't managed to clock it. So, you know, do yourself and me a favor and just put it in the chat box again, whatever your question is, and maybe make it clear about whether you're asking for a card or if it's a question for Moira. Okay. And yeah, so going back to Moira, I mean, as I said to you earlier, Moira, I've been stalking you quite intensely online for the last 24 hours. And what I found out was, like me, you didn't really fit in at school. Different reason. Mine was more growth that way and being ginger and having train tracks and just being odd. I think most people in tarot are kind of seen a little bit, you're a bit strange. I was an only child. I didn't know how to communicate with children. Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. And for you, it was to do with the height. You were 6 foot when you were 13.
I stopped growing at 12. Yeah.
A 12. Amazing. Gosh. Okay. And so that brought up this feeling of like maybe wanting to not be so.
I was, shrinking in. I had quite the stoop because I just wanted to you know, be normal height.
I can imagine. Yeah. Okay. And so there was this feeling of sticking out and not really fitting in.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of us in the tarot can really resonate with as well. Yeah. Okay. Sure. And then that led to quite an interesting happening when you were 18, huh?
Yes. So there's quite the story there, but my intention was I always wanted to make a difference in the world, to help heal. And because of my experience of because I was dreadfully ridiculed, like all my school is not only did I not fit in, but everybody made sure that I knew I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
And so at 18, I joined a cult, and I was in that for 2 years. And the whole piece that took me in there was the idea that this is my tribe. I could fit in somewhere, which, as you can imagine, and I'm sure you can feel into that you know, you grow up, all your teenage years are that you're ridiculed and not fit in, that the promise of fitting in, plus for me the promise of being able to help heal and be a conduit of change and healing in the world was a big pull. But of course I didn't see the other part that came along with that I then lost all sense of self. Because when you're in something like that, you're always told who you are, told, and actually I had to disconnect from my family completely. So for 2 years, they had nothing to do with my family. It's a big formative chapter in my life for sure.
And from what I heard on an interview, you were gradually waking up that some things weren't really fitting in. If this was something that was healing the world, the way that they were treating people wasn't actually in alignment with that. And you got kind of like, So how did you actually manage to get out of something like that?
So it was a big run away kind of thing. I had to run. The first part was I ran away. I ran out of the center that I was in, down the fire escape, and somebody helped me to get out. So we drove away knowing that I was going to be chased, because I was highly trained. I was actually one highly trained person that was trained to run an entire organization. So for me to leave was a big thing. They didn't want me to let me go. So that was the first part of me getting out, and I got kidnapped back in. That I kind of got taken back, and So that's, one of my books, we were talking about my books. So my book is called Get Your Life on Track. So without jumping off the train. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a little backhanded comment about that's how I got away from the actual kidnap attempt, because I was on a train being escorted back to what I knew was going to be like a prison experience, because they don't treat you very nicely when you try and escape, because there's something wrong with you and you have to get fixed or have your negativity deprogrammed from you. And so I knew that. And I actually talked the person who was escorting me into letting me go. She never said anything. She just relaxed and let go of me physically. And I jumped out of the train at East Croydon Station. And it was just because it was starting to move out of the station, and I jumped out before the doors completely closed. And that was it. They never chased me again. I actually was then excommunicated from the cult.
So no wonder the letting go process is
Exactly.
like you are specialist trained. It's about as hardcore trained as you can get in that. My
Absolutely.
goodness. And East Croydon Station, I mean, I peaked up then because my husband from East Croydon. So,
Oh,
you know,
really?
it's a small world. And
That's
you are
funny.
kind of you are Scottish, but you were born in Toronto. And so you've been back
And
and
so
forth.
I did actually grow up in Edinburgh. I was
Right.
born in Toronto, and then my parents divorced, and we moved to Scotland when I was 13. And so did all my teenage years growing up was in Edinburgh,
Mm,
which is why
okay.
the
Yes, yes, because I expected you to be Canadian until I saw your, interviews, and it's like, oh, okay, interesting.
yeah.
So the year that you managed to, set yourself free from the cult,
Mhm.
um, was the year that you also found tarot. Is that
Right.
right?
Absolutely. Yes. And that was so that's why, and that's what I'm wanting to do with our participants today, is to help tap into what is your intuition. Because you see, like you said, Tiffany, nearing the end of me getting out of there, I kept hearing and having conversations in my mind about, this isn't right. This doesn't feel like what I had anticipated or who I was going to become. Remember, we were asking earlier about who are you becoming?
Mm.
And so lots of reflection and lots of forgiving had to happen for me, forgiving myself. But when I found the tarot, I just absolutely loved, I love the major arcana, because I could really see the different phases. I think, Tiffany, you talk about it, about being the hero's journey. And I
Yeah, for
think
sure.
I'm
Mm.
so connected with, wow, look at there where I was, totally the fool was where I was when I
Mm.
jumped into the cult. And then going through and meeting and having different epiphanies. And in hindsight, I wouldn't change anything in my life.
Mm.
There are many, many gifts in my 2 years in that cult. I just wouldn't stay there, because it's a robbing of personal power, and
Sure.
that's not okay. But it
Mm.
does help you become. I think my experience helped me become much more available to owning what was my inner voice. So I told you that the inner voice, I realized that I actually very strongly clairaudient,
Hmm.
and wasn't listening to that. Listening, right? It's all about the listening to the inner voices and listening to the thoughts and really giving them power. And so that is what happened when I first discovered the tarot, and then just made it a big. I think I probably made it like a year long process where I just really, really made peace. Got to know each in particular, like I said, the major arcana. That I then went in to study the whole piece. I actually studied with a school in New York and got a degree in tarot card reading. That's because I'm kind of
Amazing.
I'm just a perpetual student as well. I love teaching, but I'm always doing courses. And so that really helped too, because it helped me let go of preconceived ideas. Like sometimes, you get a tarot deck and it has the little book that comes with it and teaches all the different pieces. I think that's important to know, but I then think it's also important to put it down and let your interpretations to come through. What does that come to you, right?
Absolutely. And so, I mean, this again is a really good lead on or fit with, the Light and Love Tarot Reading Festival, which is all about dispelling the misconceptions of tarot and how it is, and getting to know thyself. And it sounds like that's exactly what it did for you. It's like give you back yourself, your sense of self, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
And that's, I mean, you were there last year, which was the first year of the Tarot Reading Festival in Montreal. Yeah. How did you come across David Locopo? And if I said his name right, I don't know whether I always get confused with Locopo and Locopo. I think I've said it right this time. But yeah, wow, done, Moira. Thank you. That's confirmed my inner sense of knowing somewhere. So yeah, how did you get to know David and about the festival?
He found me. He actually found me and sent me an email. So the festival was the conference was September last year, and I believe he had contacted me like in June of last year and said, I'm putting this conference together and I'm looking for featured readers. Would I be interested in doing that? And I thought, of course, why not?
Fantastic. And
brilliant experience. I thoroughly enjoyed my entire day there, and I'm so happy that it's been made into a 3-day event, because it didn't, and I know the participants, it's like you didn't want to let go at the end of the day.
Didn't want to let go.
Didn't want to let go. Yeah.
So 3 days in Montreal. Yes, coming up September if I got the dates right, 20th to the 22nd, I believe. And I just love David's philosophy on it, which is, that it's here to kind of show the transformative effects, and it's to dispel the misconceptions. So that's what this summit is about, really. It's about how to get to know who we're becoming. And you're going to be talking more about the clairs. You mentioned clairaudience, and you're going to do an exercise with peeps on how to get to know what their predominant clair sense is. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So you want to go into that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So one thing I wanted to share first, to just sort of preface this a little bit, is first of all, I want the listeners to just take note of 3 different things that's going to help you kind of get more into your intuitive nature. And the first one is just to become quiet, to become at peace. Maybe I'm a meditation teacher too, and have many guided meditations that just help you come present, because intuition lands in this moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but now. And so it's really important to just become quiet, ground yourself. And the other piece, and this is a big one, is to trust that you are intuitive. Trust that you have an intuitive gift.
Very wise.
We all do. And, so many people come to me over the years, because I've taught this whole topic about tapping into your intuition. It's prepare yourself to be surprised, because sometimes it's the thing that you don't think about that is your gift, and you're going to get clearer on that as we do this little exercise. I have 2 wee exercises to take you through that it's going to help you get clearer on that. The other part, and this is why I provided that handout that Tiffany mentioned, is to distinguish between limiting beliefs and intuition. So the one key piece, there are 3 points on each. There's 3 things on limiting beliefs and 3 things on intuition. But the key piece is that intuition always is based in love. It's based in love, and it's based in your highest good. So if you have something that brings up any sense of fear or dread or gets you scared, that's your limiting belief. That's not your intuition. So that's just really important part too, because I see people getting really caught by, I've got this thought, I've always said that I believe we're all multiple personalities. So we all have these different voices, these different critical voices that can sometimes derail our intentions, oh my God, this could happen, or, so it's important to just get quiet, get grounded, stay in the present moment.
So the
And
first
come back
thing
to
is
that.
quiet
Yep,
and
come quiet,
grounded, and
quiet,
then just
trust.
decide you're intuitive. That's
Yep,
it. Just
yep.
okay.
Just be
Are
with
we all
that.
doing that, peeps? Good to you're probably just being too quiet, too busy being too quiet. So I will assume that you are. Okay.
Grounded into this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that trust one is a big thing too.
For
Because
sure.
I know that some of our listeners are going to go, yeah, but I haven't had this training or I haven't had this experience, or it's okay for them to say that because they've been doing it for years. Hundreds of years. So put all that away. And if it does keep coming up for you that you criticize yourself or you say, no, it's not for me, write those things down. You can even write them down and burn the piece of paper.
Mm,
Limiting beliefs can actually be cast off very easily, but it takes a decision to do so.
for sure.
Yeah. So I want to tell you about the 8, I call them the clairs, the 8 clairs. I did mention, so I believe, here's what I do. I believe that we all have all of these. Everybody here has access to all of the 8 that I'm going to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have we have two favored clairs. So I mentioned to you that I am clairaudient. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also claircognizant. Claircognizant means I just know stuff. Suddenly somebody asks me a question and the answer will come out my mouth and in my head I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, but I did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something really interesting that's happened to me, because I'm an energy healer too. When I'm doing an energy healing session, I'm clairvoyant. It's the only time I'm clairvoyant. Clairvoyant is clear vision. So I have full blown visions that get passed on, and as soon as I'm finished the energy, it's done. I go back to my favorite two. This is just very interesting part in my own development. So I'm sharing that with you because you may find that there's just one that you really resonate with, that you could connect with. But then start seeing, is there one that you like? I know lots of people like the clairvoyant idea. Also, as soon as I
Yeah.
said that though, I remember people that are scared of it. I do have a client who
True.
is deeply clairvoyant, and she shuts it down because it actually terrifies her. So we've been working on other ones of the clairs. So let me go through them. These
Okay.
8.
Mm-hmm.
So like I say, the first one that I've got on my list here is clairvoyant. So clear seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Claircognizance is clear knowing. Clairaudience is clear hearing. Then we have clairsentience, and that's clear feeling. Then there is clear salience. So some of these are kind of not documented that much at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Salience is clear smelling. You know
Uh,
that? Say people, I'm going to
yeah, my
smell
mum
that
has that.
perfume. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
but I knew there was a Claire word for it, but I
yes.
completely couldn't find it. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Clear salience.
Yeah.
Then there is clear gustance. That's clear
Oh,
tasting.
clear what?
Tasting. Tasting.
Tasting.
Hmm.
Claire Gustance.
Clear gustance. Yes.
Okay. Kind of sounds a little bit rude, but it's
I
just
know it does.
tasting.
That one, okay. Then there's clear empathy, and this is clear emotional feeling. So this is different from clear sentience, because clear
Okay.
sentience can be, I just have a feeling this is happening, whereas
Mm-hmm.
clear empathy is, I really feel that grief or that that pain or that emotional feeling, right? So there's the difference between clairsentience and clear empathy. And then the last one, and this one's fun. This one is funny. This is a funny name too. Clear tangency.
Clear what?
Clear tangency.
Tangency.
Tangible, right?
Yeah,
Think
some
of
feeling, but a
and so,
physical one. Yes.
yes, clear tangency. And have you ever seen people doing this? Like psychics will do this. They'll ask for a piece of jewelry or
For
ask for.
sure. Psychometry. Yeah.
That's what they're doing is
Right.
clear tangency. So it's
Ah.
picking up or clear knowing through touch or close proximity. So this one's a physical one. So those are the 8 clears that I like to just, like I said, some of them are out there. You know, the clear.
Yeah. Well, I expect everybody's out there thinking, I wonder which ones that I connect with. Like I would say personally, for myself, all of them apart from the smelling and the tasting,
Okay.
I recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, they change a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Like sometimes I'm predominantly clairaudient and other times it's clairsentient. But the clair empathy one, I just want to go there a little bit because what I find with me and my students is that we tend to take other people's stuff on and not even realize we're doing it. And so we'll suddenly just feel wrong in ourselves somehow. And it's like actually the awareness that you were talking about earlier is really key. I mean, for instance, I couldn't be around people with anxiety until lately because I actually took it personally. I took it as a rejection.
Right.
And that's not what they needed because then I'd kind of react from that place. And it wasn't until I got the awareness that actually, you know, I was interpreting, I was picking up their stuff.
You were soaking in their stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was triggering something in my stuff. And it was all getting really quite messy. It was only when I could get that awareness that actually everything shifted. And thank God it did, because it was really important relationships that it was affecting, key ones. So that clair empathy one, I think, you know, sometimes you might even not realize that we're actually doing that and it's getting twisted.
So, you know, this is a course that I've taught. I developed a course many years ago for empaths because I am an empath, but I'm a highly functioning empath now because and this happened for me to the realization that I'm not doing anybody any favors by taking on their stuff. For me, I was coming from a space of, like you're just saying about people with anxiety. I could be around them, but I would be so focused on taking it away from them because I'd be so much heart-based. I felt I was being so heart-based saying, oh gosh, you shouldn't suffer. I'll take it off you. I'm strong. I'm 6 foot tall. I'm a big Scot. Take it off. But then, of course, then the debilitating effect of that is huge. And I remember going to a healer myself many, many years ago, and he really strictly made me see that I was actually doing them a disservice by allowing that to continue. And a spiritual mentor of mine many years ago taught me this, that if I ever started feeling something you were saying about feeling an uncomfortable emotion or feeling, for me, sometimes it's a physical pain or an ache, is at the end of the day to just do a scan emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually too, even. And anything that comes up, ask it, are you mine or have I picked it up? And if I've picked it up, please go. And just do a clearing, letting it go, letting it go.
And again, it's awareness that's key to that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
of even asking that question. It's like we need that awareness to ask that question.
We need that awareness to ask that question. But here's the thing is when we don't have that awareness, we are communicating to our own core that we are not worthy.
Sure.
And that spirals down into a bad relationship with us. And we're then not getting our own inner guidance, which is our own inner guidance is always coming to us through one of those clairs, right?
Indeed.
So I would like to do our first exercises.
Great.
Everybody that's on the call, I encourage you to just get something to write with and a piece of paper.
Massive pad and a pen. So excited. I love exercises. Okay.
And so what I want you to do is I'm going to read out a list of words, and I want you to, and I'll go slow enough, I'll pause in between each word, and I want you to write down the first thing. The first thing. Don't get into making a big story about it. Just the first thing that comes to mind with each word. And then I'll kind of decipher.
Should we write down the word and then like the word that comes to us?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first word is fire. So write down fire, and then what does that bring up?
Mm-hmm.
Don't judge it, just whatever it comes up. And the next word is high school. And whatever comes up with that. Next one is money. And what comes up for you on that? The next word is pizza.
Pardon?
Pizza.
Pizza, as in the food.
Pizza, as in the food.
Okay, it's just not what I expected. Okay.
Never clear gusts.
Okay, yeah.
Good. I'll just give you a wee moment to write down what comes up in your feeling. So in this, you're writing anything, like whatever comes up. It could be a feeling, could be a memory, something like that. Got a few more. Next one is autumn. Okay. And then we have 4 more. The next one is dog. And then skiing. Ocean. And the last one is airplane. So now this is going to be over to you, because I'm just going to give you some guidance about how to interpret what it is you wrote down. So for instance, when I said ocean, what came up? Did you think of the color blue? In which case, you may be clairvoyant. Did you hear the waves on a holiday that you were at the beach? Did you hear the waves in your being? So that would be clairaudience. Or did you have the feeling of enjoyment, of fun, of play because of a family reunion or a holiday? Then that could be clairsentience. Or maybe even, like, to just follow that one all the way through at the ocean, maybe you remember having an ice cream cone and how much you loved the taste of that. That could be that clairgustance one. Or do you remember that you were sunbathing on the beach and you were really upset because you could feel that the people on the towel next to you were having an argument or something? Maybe that's clear empathy, right? So this is, now you get to become the detective. This is the awareness part. Now see, was it something? Did you hear something? Did you see something? Did you feel something? Did you get into your head and start telling a story? Because I mean, that could be any of them. Well, or did you just know you were there in that space? Does that make sense?
Fascinating. Yeah, it does. And I think I'd also like to invite people to share if they, particularly if something's hit them or they're unsure of what something is. Like, for instance, I mean, actually looking through, it's quite interesting because for dog, I put smelly. But like, sorry for any dog lovers out there, but that was one Claire that I said that I didn't have.
That's right. You did.
So that's quite interesting,
That's
isn't
fascinating.
it?
So you're proving my point that we all have them. It's just that
Yeah.
it's not one of your favored ones, right?
Good point.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So I love that. That was beautifully. Couldn't have planned that better.
Did you? Oh, I see. So are they all for some kind of sense? I mean, I guess the dog wouldn't be, but I'm looking at the pizza.
Mhm.
Um, and is that one aimed to see whether somebody is Claire Gustance? If I've said it
It
right.
can be. Clear Gustance is correct. It can be the thing with this list is they can actually uh, elicit any of them.
Yeah.
Because so take fire, for instance. Fire
Hmm.
could bring a memory of you were all sitting around having a meal, right?
Hmm.
Or it could be that you started smelling the smoke, or
Hmm.
you could hear in your mind's eye the fire alarm going off, or you could just have a sense of impending danger because of a fire. So you see what I mean? I believe each one of them could actually apply to any of the clairs.
Okay.
So it's not
Great.
it wasn't that I was trying to trick you into
No, no, it just occurred to me because, pizza, I put, well, the first thing that I thought was hut. So it was almost like word association that I went
okay, yeah.
into. But then it was like greasy.
Mhm.
And then I was like, well, what is greasy? Is that Claire?
Clear
What was
gusting, clear
it? Yeah,
clear gusting to
that's the
me.
one. Or is it like a feeling, you
I would
know?
say it could to me that would be more of a feeling.
Mm.
And
So maybe,
sometimes people would find that it was a family treat or an exciting um, outing pizza.
mhm.
But for you went straight for if it was greasy, that to me would be much more clear sentient.
It's interesting, isn't it? I'm coming over a little bit OCD, I think. Smelly dogs and greasy pizzas. But anybody else out there that's kind of like, oh, what is this one? Please, just
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
be
please
shy.
ask
Pop
any questions. And the other part about this too, I put money in there because money can sometimes be a
Yes.
very delicate one because
Mm,
it could have brought up a sense of lack or a sense of I can't afford this. And so there is it's an invitation to dig deeper. So where's that coming
yeah.
from? Is it a dialogue? Is it a sense or is it a vision? So this one, like I said, I'm really inviting you into being a detective. Remember, coming from that space of you're intuitive. You're just
Uh-huh. And
yeah.
also being in the moment, because actually that one was very interesting because I've been doing a lot of money work lately.
Okay.
And before now, even I would say I was on like an abundance manifesting challenge a couple of weeks ago, and the feeling in my body around money just a couple of weeks ago with that challenge was like, ugh. But when you said money now, I put love it.
Oh, beautiful.
I
That's
was like, wow, and that's the
yes,
first that happened.
lovely.
So again,
Beautiful.
surprising yourself as well. You were saying,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ability to
Yeah.
do that.
Don't get into preconceived ideas of oh I've got this gift because my mother did or my grandmother did. Um,
Mm,
be open to being surprised.
mm.
Yeah. And it's
Fantastic.
fun. It's fun. Have a sense of fun. This is meant to be playful and fun
Yes,
and uplifting and empowering, right?
that's right. I mean, I think that's the way that we learn about ourselves, and that's why, the fool's journey is the fool's journey. It,
Right.
it is about having that playful connection with your inner child, really, that liberates all of the Claires and all of those. Um,
Absolutely. And you're right. I absolutely love the Fool simply because the Fool to me demonstrates complete trust. The
Indeed.
Fool is about to skip off into the vast unknown, but knows all will be well. Everything's okay. Universe got my back, right? And so yeah,
Fantastic.
that's
Yeah,
definitely the energy to be bringing in to this type of exercise for sure. Yeah.
brilliant.
So
Fantastic.
do we have any questions or
Oh, we
what
have
do
a
we
very
have?
quiet audience. Yeah, so I think they're testing our clairaudience. Clairaudience, ha! Sorry, very bad joke.
You're
Didn't realise I was
you're
coming out with it.
you're funny.
So, yeah, I mean, we do have a few people that have said hello. Deborah said hello. David said hello. Hello, David. Um,
Hi, Deborah.
Ella, I don't even know if I've said your name right. Sorry if not. Lolly, who's one of my students. Kathy. I don't know if I've got a Kathy who's a student, but maybe you have too. So a few people have said hello. We've got lots of people on. So, you know, people are here with us.
I hope you're getting what you need and you're feeling a bit more confident about accessing your intuition and understanding these clears.
Absolutely. And is that is where are we coming in with the one card draws? Because I think also, you know, as soon as we say like one card draws, that's it. I mean, if
Yeah.
it stays quiet, then I'm going to be like, there's something wrong. But have you got more with this presentation, or are we
I
going on
have
to?
one more personal inquiry idea. So what I want to invite you into doing is this is like being the observed and the observer in the same moment. And so
Mm-hmm.
think about when you're listening to somebody sharing a problem or sharing an issue with you, how do you respond? Do you say, I see what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do you say, I understand? Do you say, I know what you mean? Do you say, I feel where you're coming from? So, do you see where I'm coming from? Right. So, if I say, I see where you're coming from, you may be
Yeah,
clairvoyant.
yeah.
I hear where you're coming from, clairaudient. I feel
Mm-hmm.
what you're trying to say, clairsentient. Right. So, just watch. This is why I'm saying, um, yeah. And then I know what you mean is the claircognizance, right? So, because remember, we all have these already.
Mm.
All I'm trying to do, and that's the other key piece here too, and this is what I do for my students, is I have exercises that will actually help you strengthen each one of those. So maybe you have kind of a wee bit of an idea of, I think I'm clairaudient, but how do I strengthen that? Because all of these clairs, I believe, are like muscles, and we do need to keep working them.
Yeah. And I think again it's about understanding as well, isn't it? Like I never thought when I first started being a professional tarot reader, my first poster that went up was all the information I get is solely from the tarot. I am not a clairvoyant. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that umbrella term of clairvoyant.
Right.
And someone walked in who was kind of going to be my teacher and taught me about the clairs. And he walked in and he saw the poster and he was just laughing. This was my own shop that I had, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're not that way inclined at all, are you?" And the thing was, I just thought I was weird. Yeah, weird things happened to me,
Hmm.
and I didn't think I was clairvoyant because I couldn't see auras or spirit at will.
Right.
Um, and I remember he took me under his wing and he was like, you know, there's subjective, which is internal. So,
Yes.
you know, dreams, all of, you know, visioning, like you've taken through with the exercise. And then there's objective, he would call it, which is external, where you see auras and spirits and orbs and things along those lines.
Mhm.
And it's like you were saying earlier about, you know, clairvoyance and how people like that one, but then they'll shut it down because they get scared. I
Yeah.
remember when I was developing, I was like, I want clairvoyance, but then I got annoyed with clairvoyance. Sorry.
Stop seeing me
There was a lot of interpretation needed. And
Mhm.
I found that I just was like, I don't want that. I want to be clairaudient because then that will be easy because I'll just be told But actually that wasn't easy, because
No.
when you're told, you have to trust or discern. And so actually I got told the lottery numbers once,
Okay.
and I didn't believe it. And said, okay, I'll compromise with you, spirit. I'll compromise with you on the lottery numbers. There was loads of limiting belief stuff going on there, that money stuff.
Yes.
So I won 2 tenors instead of 4.5 million.
Oh dear. So nice
But
compromise, everybody.
it wasn't my path. But my friends tried to get me into a syndicate for quite some time after that. But it was the most expensive psychic development class I'd ever had, you know, and still it's hard to trust, isn't it? Or it's hard to discern, which
It
is why
is.
what you're bringing with us today is really key, because it's really costly if we can't, you know.
So I want to share. A wee quick story about the costly
Me
aspect
too.
of when
Yeah.
we ignore, and I don't want to freak people out with this one, but um, I've always had a strong relationship with my guides and with intuition. I said I've been an intuitive all my life and been aware of that.
Mm.
It's just that I've kind of walked away from it from time to time in my life. When I moved to Ontario 10 years ago, I used to be a massage therapist, and I knew I'd lost all passion for that work and I had to quit. And so I said, my guides were saying, no more. You're going to focus much more on the coaching, the counseling, the tarot card reading, the psychology type part, which is where my passion was and is. So I would say, yeah, I'm going to give it up. But of course, I didn't. And so every time I could feel it, it was like pressure building. When are you going to give up? When are you going to give up? When are you going to give up? Oh, soon. I used to do a type of massage that I was really good at, but I was exhausted from. And so one day, this was after a year of me ignoring my own nudges, my own claircognizance, my own clairaudience, even clairvoyant. I know I even had visions around this too. And I kept ignoring it because, remember the A-type personality? No, I've got this. I can help. I'm
Mhm.
tough. What happened was I fell headfirst down a set of stairs in my home in between 2 massage appointments, and I shattered my humerus, my right arm. And that was the biggest way. I was shocked. Like, I totally freaked out. I reached out to a dear friend of mine and said, help, I need to understand what went on. Like, what did I do? And she laughed at me and she says, Moira, your guides are laughing at you. They said this is the only way they could get you to wake up and do what you said and what they said. So this is the thing, is when, yes, trust is really important, but sometimes we have to go through these types of cycles. And I don't want people to get to the place of not getting the lottery or breaking their arm.
It was such a strange day, because synchronicity played in. I had one client that day, and for a tarot reading, and he was a professional gambler,
Mm,
and I didn't get that message. And then I went down to get the bus, and I missed it, and it was in Cornwall, and there wasn't a lot of buses.
right.
And so I went into the shop across the road, and the reason, because you were saying this about intuition, right, that it happens in the moment,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right here.
and exactly. And
Mhm.
I walked in through the shop door, and the desk was, it was literally, you couldn't really get into the shop because the lottery desk somehow was so shoved up against the door. So
Okay.
it was like there in my face, and bang, the numbers came in from my guides, like
Right.
you're talking about.
Mhm.
And they were actually symmetrical type numbers. There was a pattern to them. And that's what my head clocked on, because I just couldn't believe that I'd got it, even though I knew somewhere deep down, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
probably knew that you had to give up massage. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I just couldn't accept, like, it blew my head. And I was like, you know, and so I was like, these aren't the lottery numbers. And the Claire audience was strong at that time because I'd asked for it. I was like, don't want Claire audience, I want Claire audience. Okay. I said, oh, you know, these can't be them. And they said, why not? And I said, well, they're symmetrical. And my guide said, but that's the lottery numbers. They're random. They can be symmetrical.
Of course they
And
can.
I was like, yeah, right, okay, I'll compromise with you. I'll put 3 on one line and 3 on another. And they were like, they're the lottery numbers. You don't compromise with them.
No.
And I was like, I still went to the till with every cell in, that's the only way I can describe it. Every cell in my body was screaming to stop. And but I didn't. I was like, I'm going to miss the next bus, or I was just coming from all these places of not allowing. And
limiting beliefs there too. Limiting beliefs there. Absolutely.
Yeah, the poverty consciousness was strong and has taken a lot of work. And I think that's what you're talking about with intuition and limiting beliefs, because I was thinking about that angle that you were bringing in with us today on that front. And I thought it's interesting because I'm sure people have thought, is this fear or is this intuition? But and even kicked themselves for not, actually listening to their intuition. But have any of us actually sat there and thought, actually, I haven't gone for something because I thought it was intuition, but actually it was a limiting belief? Have we actually ever had that awareness? I'm not so sure. I don't think we sit there and think that.
No, I don't think so either. I think that sometimes those kind of things is to bring in that idea of trust. Is sometimes it's okay to follow that limiting belief. Don't beat yourself up. It was just you're taking the scenic route to get where you're going, because you're always going to get where you're going, right?
Yeah, I completely believe that. Yeah, totally. Okay. Well, we still don't have any questions, so shall we go on?
So I have on the screen here, Tiffany, I see
speaker requests.
Speaker requests. Yeah.
Yes, one's from David and one's from Gian, and I think they're accidental. But David and Gian, can you let us know in the chat box? Because what I don't want to do is just click the green tick to accept you, because if we accept your speaker request, what will happen is you'll come up here like me and Moira. So you might be there in your gym jams, or and I don't want to do that to you, in case I don't want to make the assumption that actually that you actually want to speak. Wendy has also now requested also to speak. So Wendy, David and Gian, can you let us know in the chat box, please, whether you do want to speak? Because this happens a lot on Webinar Jam. And also the other thing is sometimes it kicks people out of the webinar if I do accept them, and then they have to come back in as a presenter. So
can they not just come on with and use their microphone though, Tiffany, not their camera?
Yeah. Although I just don't really, I think it's like such a process that I wouldn't like to say.
Yeah, if they can just type in the chat box, and I hope everybody can. There's a box that you can click on that says chat.
Now it's kind of interesting. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go there with David, seeming that he is one of the hosts. So I think I'll test it with David before doing it to anyone else. It is interesting that 4 people are asking to speak and nothing's coming up in the chat. I'm wondering if there's a problem with the chat box. Perhaps. So let me just try this with David. So first, okay, so I've clicked accept with David, and it might take a little while for something to happen. I can see
that the chat request has gone down to 3, so it's recognized accepted one.
It's very strange that nothing is coming up in the chat. Can anybody put anything in the chat? Can you just let me know if it's working?
You're there.
I'm assuming people can hear us. Normally on the beginning of a webinar, I say, can you all hear me fine? But we were just so excited, and 38 people have stayed, so I guess they can hear us. Okay, David's joined the room. Hello. Okay. Yes.
We're having him on camera.
Well, we'll probably have him on microphone at some point. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yay! Hello.
Hi, everyone. So actually, the chat is disabled. We're not able to chat.
Really?
That's
Okay. Because that's really weird because I've seen people saying hello.
in the beginning, and then once maybe a minute into it, it disabled the whole chat.
Okay. All right. Can you maybe just take over with Moira on the chat, and I will check the control room. Is that okay?
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can get to the chat from here. So now I have access as a speaker. As a presenter, I have access to the chat. Just send a message test.
It's funny. I tried to send a test message and it didn't go.
Very strange because the chat is up here. And yeah, I don't understand why it's disabled. So I'm going to go into control. Sorry, guys, bear with me. You know what it's like. We have, this is part of live TV, right? It just actually does this type of thing. But it's very strange because it says that it's up here. All right. I don't know what else I can do, really, unless I can try and take it off and back on again. Okay, Moira, will you pull me a card? You can start with, you can hear me, can't you? So
absolutely. I just on my side, I just pulled it up to say enable chat. Did that help anything?
Okay, you're good now.
Yay!
There you go.
Yay! Thank you, David. Thank you,
No
Moira.
problem.
You got my back, guys. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so I'm gonna log out and I'll log back in as a viewer.
Okay, all right. This is David Lacopo, everyone, who's Light and Love Tarot reading festival. It is. Who's the reason why we're here.
The last name right.
Yes, it's Lacopo.
Yay.
So she got it right. You guys got it right. Thank you.
We did it.
All right, great. Thank
All
you.
right. Yay, we've got unblocked. Thank you, everybody, for your patience and your help with that. So we've got Sylvie saying it's working. Everyone's saying hello now, which is great. Yay. Fantastic. Everyone's saying yay. Yeah, we haven't had such a quiet audience as we thought. Sorry, guys. Okay. So does anybody have anything that they want to... Lolly saying Mercury retrograde. Yeah, I mean, who would do a Tarot Tele-Summit during Mercury retrograde, right?
The best time. It's the best time. Yes, I love Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, me too. I'm not sure if I do for technology, but the inner messages, fantastic. Okay. So, do we have any questions? Either card reading or maybe about how do you tell your Claire type, or anything you want to share with Moira from the exercise?
On anything I said, yeah.
We've got lots of lovely people saying hello. I've got Kathleen from New York, Cecilia, Vicky, Helen, Kathy. Hello from PA. I don't know what that is, Kathy. Where's PA?
Pennsylvania, I think, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay. Must be some American lingo. Okay. I went over to America once and was asking for a plaster or a loo. And like people were looking at me like, what? So sometimes the lingo is a little bit, lots of people saying hello. No questions? All right, then. Harriet says that she tends to say she understands. Okay. So what sense is that?
That would be claircognizant. Remember I said you just know stuff, right? So to me that would be claircognizant.
Yeah.
That's actually is the most common one throughout everybody. But here's the piece about it. It's also the one that gets shut down the most, because suddenly if I just know something, immediately my head says, who the hell are you to know that? Why did you know that? Where did it come from?
Yeah, it's your logic trying to work it out again.
Exactly. So this one is where it's just really to work on deepening your trust. So it's really funny. And with my husband's very science-based. He's got to have it proved to him. You got to show him something. And so now we have an agreement between us that if I say something and he says, well, where did you know that from? He has to go Google it. It's got nothing to do with me. Oh, you know, you were right. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I should try that with mine. I bought in one of those t-shirts once, I don't need to ask Google. My wife knows everything.
You already know.
Actually,
that.
he woke me up this morning with a text, right? And so I messaged him back and I said, your text woke me up. And he was like, have you not heard a silent? And I was like, it was on silent. It's called being tuned into your husband's needs. Yeah, 13 years of marriage to a psychic and he still doesn't get it, but there we go. It's a funny old relationship like that, isn't it? When they're just like, we do it to ourselves. How do we know that? And then we block ourselves. So why should anybody else get it, right?
Absolutely. And so I've been married a wee bit longer than that. I think it's 23 years this year.
Oh, congrats.
But thank you. There's a lot of space to just say, I don't understand it. Or, he thinks he sometimes thinks I'm a white witch.
He thinks you're a what witch?
White witch.
White witch. Well, at least he says white. Like it's just like, instead of calling me begins with B, he swaps the B for a W. So yeah. So okay.
Does anybody want? I'd be happy to do a one-card tarot, or
more questions.
Sure.
And then if people can also put what would the one-card tarot be? Would it be a question or a question? So any question. Okay, so let me just go through the questions on your Claire audience, and then you can start putting in also, so Michelle's just said a card, please, so maybe that's just a general one, but we'll get there in a minute. But if you have a question that's specifically for a card reading, just put card in there so we know, and I'm going to go through the questions. Okay, so I'm just going back to Pennsylvania, you were right. Kathy's from Pennsylvania. Alice is from Toronto. So hello, lovelies. Ella, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, so sorry if I'm not, says that they've been hearing voices in their head and wonder how you can differentiate.
Oh, I love that question. It's a great question. So obviously voices in your head is clairaudient. So check in about there's two things here. One is that to me, clairaudient it tends to be a higher vibration voice. It's higher pitch, and again, it's always love based. There is never fear or limitation or even what if type of vibe about it. So that is a direct connection to your higher self, right? To think, to me, I think of it, it's kind of up here, right? It's like third eye, crown type of area is where those voices are coming in. So they're clear, they're higher vibration and higher in tonality. If it's got a lower pitch, then it tends to be ego-based and limitation and fear-based. So have a check to just decipher. And like I say, always come back to that place. Is this feeling uplifting? Because there's another part, and this is actually part of a law of attraction exercise that I teach people, is when it lands for you, do you feel, even if there's, like, let's say something lands and you get a little bit of a fear reaction, a little bit of nervousness reaction happen, but it's not like dread fear. It's kind of like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. But at the same time, there's this little lift in your shoulders, like you feel a little uplifting lightness. That's still guidance, and that's still the clairaudient. But if the voice is making you feel, weighted down, and you're thinking, oh gosh, I should do that, then that's coming from a different place, and it's not for your highest good. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Ela, if I'm saying your name right, Moira's checklist, which you're on track for getting, will really help you as well. Absolutely. Yeah, but that was a really clear answer. It's almost like, you're being lifted by intuition and also inspiration, which spirit within, right? It's like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That feels really rejuvenating. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
completely.
Wonderful. Thank you. So Lolly is saying, I'm not sure if I did word association with the words, i.e. autumn, I wrote season.
Okay. So sounds like you maybe did, and that's okay. That's okay. But maybe when we do that, it could be more like a clear cognizance coming through too, because that's knowing, right?
Mm,
Even word association is a sense of knowing.
mm,
But I would encourage you to play with it. I don't want you to overdo that either, but just check in. The next piece for you would be to watch yourself over a period of time. When somebody tells you something or explains something to you, do you say I see, or I know, or I feel what you're saying, right? Because I think that will help you drill down deeper. But my immediate impression of you saying that would be that you're more into slanting towards that clear cognizance.
mm. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And Jacqueline says, please repeat the who am I? I think that means about okay, so that's probably
Oh,
what I
who
brought
am
up about becoming.
who am I becoming?
Yeah. So, who am I is like that's a big thing in terms of Socrates saying that's the most important thing we can do.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I think a better question is who am I becoming? Because I think when we ask ourselves, who am I, we can get very attached to a sense of identity, and that can actually bring in limitations.
Absolutely.
So I think who am I becoming gives us that lift again. And
Gives us that lift, but it also gives us that uh, connection to our higher self, because our higher
mm,
self knows who we're becoming. So it's
mm,
almost like, and you know something I mentioned to you before we started here today, Tiffany, that I use a lot of numerology in my work too. And 2019 is a 3-year. So you do 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 is 12, and then 1 plus 2 is 3.
yeah,
So in a 3-year, we're talking about like the divine trinity. And so
the
people,
Empress, and yeah,
yeah.
in the tarot.
But
Mm,
at the beginning of the year, I said that I believe this is a real true alignment for all of us of head, heart, and higher self.
lovely,
And so getting into this
gorgeous.
intuition piece, yeah, isn't that nice? The
Yeah,
3 H's.
yeah, love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it really feels like that. I think
doesn't it?
2019 is just like, wow, yeah,
Mhm,
on that front.
mhm.
Mm,
And so see from that perspective that when I can connect into my head, heart, and higher self, I really am stepping into who am I becoming
mm,
rather than who am I. Because
okay.
sometimes who am I can make us look over our shoulder, all the things we've done that no longer serve us
Uh-huh.
anyway, right?
Okay.
And
Hmm.
so who am I? I'm me. But who am I becoming? There's an excitement there. I feel like there's an excitement, especially as we go through the changing times and all the different planetary pieces. And this is a good time to be thinking that in Mercury retrograde too, because Mercury retrograde gives us a space to take things at our right pace. So even if it means slowing things down, watching those words that are coming out your mouth, watching those thoughts that you're entertaining, and choosing to put some of them down if there's limitations in there.
Mm, that's amazing. I love it. Thank you. That was
My pleasure.
really beautiful offering. Higher self, head, and heart
Yeah.
this year, the 3 year. Love it. Okay. Thank you, Jacqueline. Harriet's saying thank you. Maria's saying hello. Sylvie's saying I wrote passion for fire.
Hi.
And she's asking about what it means.
Hmm. That could be any of them because so then the next question is passion for what? Is it
Oh,
passion for what you're doing, for what you're becoming, passion for your craft, passion for the insights that you're getting? So that I think that one will help you get more clear because it doesn't land completely for me that would passion's a feeling for sure. So potentially clear sentience, clear empathy in there. But
mm,
like I say, just drill down one more level. Passion
I
for
love
what?
that.
Yeah.
Because this is it. When we ask questions, more opens, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
that's how we get it.
So remember,
Fantastic.
in all of this intuitive stuff is, and I tell people this, we're spiritual detectives here. That's what we're doing here. And we're using tarot as a, oh, look at that. That's so perfect. It's the Queen of
Queen of
Swords.
Swords. Yeah.
Isn't
The
she's a pretty good,
detective,
she's a
justice.
pretty
Yeah,
good spiritual detective.
absolutely. Yes. And I don't know about you, but I do have a lot of people in the law as my clients. So
How
I
do
think
you?
there is a real, there is a real similar vein there, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah,
With
for sure.
being detectives,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
hope that helps Sylvie. Jacqueline's from Norway and she got the flag up. Oh, I guess that's because she's on her phone. So I get really impressed when I see emojis and things like that in webinars. I'm like, wow, how did
Awesome.
they do that? And it's phone. Okay. Maureen got the ocean and got relaxation and feels
Right.
at one. There's a real
Beautiful.
sense of feeling there because she's
Yeah,
even
so
said it,
that
I feel at one.
beautiful. So clear sentience there. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Okay. We've got a
yeah.
couple more on the Claires, and then I think we're going into cards. Okay.
It's good.
Okay, wonderful. Lucy saying, I respond saying, yeah. Then spewing guidance that is pushy in my head. What would that indicate in the sense of Claire's? Interesting.
So guidance that was pushy in her head? Is that what she
Mm,
said?
yeah.
So
Yes.
obviously that's clear audience because it's so clear audience doesn't have to mean that you hear voices. Sometimes
No,
it does.
exactly.
For me,
Yeah.
it's something that does. But sometimes it's just a thought that lands. But so that really does feel. But this thing of being pushy, I wonder if there is limitations in there because using the word pushy says there's a wee bit of discomfort to me.
Mm.
That's how I feel that. So
And
I,
spewing as well. They're quite strong words, almost like a sense of like something is coming through that feels quite forceful in that, doesn't it?
yeah. And so here's the other part, and I'm just realizing here's me tapping into my clear audience. So sometimes when we open to our clear or to our guidance, it can sometimes come through super fast. And so if that feels uncomfortable, you can request slow down, please, or it's too much, or increase your capacity to be okay so that you feel like it's a flow that you can deal with. But if it is too much and it feels uncomfortable, if it feels pushy or like it's a deluge that you have, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing with this, um pause, say press pause, please, press pause.
Slow down and all of
Yes.
that.
And
Yeah,
can you bring it
absolutely.
into a rate that feels more comfortable for me, please?
We forget to do that, don't we? We forget that we
Yeah,
can
we do.
communicate with spirit and say,
Yeah,
yeah, what we
yeah.
need.
We are not at
It's
the
really
effect
important
of
to
it.
remember,
We're the conduits for it, and it needs to always feel like a blessing, not a curse.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so a great awareness that you're bringing up there again. Thank you. Thank you, Lucy, for that share. And Vicky says, the Claire type is massively helpful. I say I see or I get where you're coming from because it's a feeling. So I
Good.
think clocked
Clear
clairvoyant.
sentient and clear cognizance. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I see. Yes, definite clairvoyance.
Yeah.
I get where you say you're coming from would be clear cognizance.
Yeah. See, in my language, clairsentience and then there's claircognizance is I see that as a stronger version of clairsentience. Would you say that's the do you see it the same way or do you see it differently?
I see it differently because clairsentience to me is a real feeling. Like it's a gut feeling, for instance. Generally, it
Mm-hmm.
would be a gut feeling. Whereas claircognizance, it's like a wisdom. It's a piece of wisdom. So it's like a it's like a it's just a knowing. You know when I say so watch the claircognizant would say I know.
Mm-hmm.
Clairsentient would say I feel what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
feel that, or I get that feeling, right?
Thank you for that clarification. I'm aware that we've got about 10 minutes left, and there's loads of people wanting. Yeah, there's loads of comments coming in now, so I think we're just going to speed up now. In terms of cards, because there's me kind of going, okay, like I can do card readings in a minute like that, just because I used to be on live TV, so we did that. You know, it was like you had 1 minute per reading.
I've done that before too.
You've done, so are you comfortable with that?
Mm-hmm.
We do speed read, yes, and see how many we can get in.
Absolutely.
And I will keep the time. So I will buzz, okay, when there's been a minute, and you know, we'll see. There might be like I've started, so I need to finish, or we'll move on. Okay, how's that?
Yep.
Okay, so the first one is Michelle, and she just says, a card, please.
A card for Michelle.
Please, thanks, Moira.
Beautiful. So you got the Fool. And so I love that. I said that earlier. The Fool is beautiful. Let go of limitations. Just step into your trust. It feels like you're arguing a little bit internally. So remember, I said you are intuitive. It's up to you to let go of any kind of mental chatter about it. Trust. The universe got your back.
Fantastic. That was 20 seconds. You rock.
Been here before.
Okay. All right. So Michelle's got the Fool, and it's about trust. So Sylvie would like a card about letting go.
Okay, nice. Oh, should I put, let's do that. I'm going to just switch over. I'm going to use my cards.
Oh, lovely. Your letting go cards, special letting go cards.
Yes, this is my deck that I've developed. And so we're focusing on Sylvie. Just take a deep breath, and we're going to see, what do you have to focus on letting go in order to shine your light more brightly, to be all that you can be. And so what's come up is, I don't know if you can see this card, it's story that you're telling or listening to. So I feel like you've got a story that you maybe are hearing from outside of you, but you're actually internalizing it, that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes, that you need to learn lots of new things in order to tap fully into your essence and who you are becoming. Who you're becoming is a big, big thing for you. So look at that limiting story. It's not serving you anymore. Let it go. Time out.
Got a frog. The frog is riveting.
All the best to you, my dear.
Lovely. It's a real lovely piece there. Laura is asking for a general card.
Okay. We'll go back to the tarot. And do you say Laura?
Lara.
Lara.
Yeah.
Okay, Laura, let's see what comes out for you.
And I just want to say also, for the people that are listening, that usually, you know, if you hear something, there's something in there for you. I find that these readings, it's not just for the person, it's all a collective. So take note of all the messages. Yes?
Yeah, well said. We're all here. This is for all of us. And so this is the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is to remind you how capable you are. I'm feeling like there's a little bit of a story of feeling stuck for you. To remind you of all the things that light you up. The Queen of Wands, actually, she's one of my favorite queens, that she's very, very capable. But sometimes, and I feel like this is why it's coming up for you today, is to look at how capable you are, how gifted you are, and how in touch with the universe you are.
Okay, so far we've got trust, let go of stories.
And remind yourself how capable you are.
That's right. Yeah. Remind yourself how capable you are. So I'm jotting these down because it's like a collective group reading, really.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a great idea.
And la 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 la. Deborah, general card, please.
I wonder if that's my Deborah.
Ooh. Can you let us know, Deborah?
So Deborah, this is nice. Deborah, you've got Ace of Cups. And so Ace of Cups is a beautiful card to me. Very much about really opening up to receiving your own emotional guidance. So a big piece on clairsentience here. So perhaps that is your favored clair, but to allow you to remember we said head, heart, and higher self. This is another piece of that too, because the to me, Ace of Cups would be very much into that heart, that being the open vessel to receive your insights and flow them. Also, there's a real sense of flow and cleansing and being stepping more into your gifts and the pieces that you've got to share with the world.
Beautiful. Thank you, Moira. Thank you, Deborah. Card advice on connecting with higher self. So I don't know whether you want to use tarot or your cards. You'll know which ones are better for that. That's from Ella.
Okay, Ella, I think we will. Oops, that was Deborah's pen. So Ella, I think we will use the tarot for that. So actually, we could probably use both. If I have time, I'm going to use both. I just got that. So first is the Emperor. So the Emperor to me would be very much about trusting. Remember, trust that you're intuitive, and the looking at all the, like, actually also tapping into the wisdom of the planets. So that's a nice one to be coming out for our Mercury retrograde phase also. So, and then it being a masculine figure too is about taking action, stepping into the doing from a nurturing, trusting, I've got this. And then this is cool. The letting go one that's coming out is the need for control. So the Emperor, the nurturing of the Emperor is actually allowing you to step more into, you've got this.
Got this. Great. Okay.
And that card was number 44, which is a master number 2.
Amazing. Okay, 44.
Yes.
Double Emperor too.
Yes,
I think we can fit in 2 more card readings. We've got loads of more questions as well. So we're going to fit in 2 more card readings. If you haven't had yours answered, I'm going to read back the whole message anyway. Just trust that that's your guidance that you were to get today. However, Moira does do Facebook card readings on a Monday from your page, Wellness with Moira.
That's right.
Isn't it?
Usually around 11 Eastern is I'm on there. So
11 Eastern is 4 p.m. Our time. Yes. Yeah. So that's Wellness with Moira. You can like her page and get more from her that way. I do want to make sure that we do answer other people's questions that have stayed on live that is specific to this webinar, and wrap it up as promptly as possible, because everybody has stayed here lovingly for 90 minutes and obviously really want your checklist, and you've been also really interesting and amazing. So I really want to honor people's time and the fact they've done that. So 2 more cards, and then we'll whiz through the rest of the questions, and you'll also have the offer for Moira's reading 40% off. You can only get that on this webinar. There's also an offer coming up from David, who's offering 20% off the festival ticket, and from myself as well. If you book my retreat in Canada, you get the festival ticket for free. So all of that is coming up, but I'm aware it's 5:30 and we're going to wrap up as quick as we can. Okay, so I've lost my place. Jacqueline's saying card reading. Found it. Thank you.
So just you want a general card?
Yes, please, Moira.
Okay, Jacqueline. So Jacqueline, you've got 2 of Wands. So it feels like you're in a space of making a decision, and make it. Just make it. You can't make the wrong decision. The only thing that will deplete your energy is spending too much time ruminating and visualizing what happens if I go this way and what happens if I go this way. Just know that you're on track, and take the one that feels most uplifting. That just check in what's your sense of yes, and go for it. That is actually, there's a sense of real excitement there too, that you're on track of becoming who you truly are.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Moira and Cecilia. And last one, and then I will read back the general,
the summarized one.
Exactly. So last one is Laurie, and Laurie says, general card, please.
Okay, Laurie, let's see what comes out for you.
Lolly, sorry.
Oh, Lolly, sorry.
It was my fault.
Lost in translation. Okay, let's see what comes out for Lolly. Lolly got the Strength card. So this, I love this Strength card. Actually, you can tell I love all the cards, right? The Strength card is remember how strong you are within. It's a gentle power. And so, sometimes you can tend to get into a fear-based, like, oh my gosh, what if this, and what if this, and what if this? Take a deep breath and come back to the place that you are worthy, you are enough. Actually, I have a ring that I wear. This ring here says, I am enough. We need to remind ourselves that we are enough. And to me, the strength is that maybe you don't remind yourself enough or like really feel into that. You are stronger than you actually give yourself credit for.
Done. Thank you very much, Moira, and thank
My
you
pleasure.
everyone
I love
for
them.
the amount of questions we've got here. I will do my best to wrap up very quickly now and try and serve you all as much as I can with the fact that we're 2 minutes over. First of all, I'm just going to reflect back to you the general message we've got for all of you from here, from Moira's reading right now, which is to trust, let go of the stories, remember how capable you are. That's a key one, isn't it? Absolutely. Tune into your clairsentience. Remember your head, your heart, your higher self. Step into doing rather than control. There's a difference. Make the decision to take the action and that you're worthy enough.
Yeah.
Don't even doubt that you got the wrong one. Just tune into the higher part. Yeah?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, so remember, if you want a reading with Moira, that offer's coming up in a few minutes. I'm just going to run through any other questions that really need answering now. But if you want a card reading with her, Wellness with Moira, on Mondays on Facebook page at 4 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So just pop up there and she'll pop up and you can ask her there. Okay, sorry I haven't managed to get through everybody here. Just going to look at the ones that are really relevant to this webinar at the moment. Ella's saying thank you for answering my question. It helped me understand more about differentiating the ego and the intuition. I can hear my spirit guides in my head because they communicate with me at times in my head. I don't literally hear them in my ears. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good one. Yes.
Lolly says, I wrote strength for fire, colour for pizza, peace for ocean, so a mixture. I will watch as you have said. It's a great exercise. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the advice. Lots of people saying thank you, which is lovely. Someone saying wow. That's
like, wow.
Right. And some people are really wanting some guidance. So remember Wellness with Moira on Mondays, 4 p.m. BST or 11 a.m. EST, if I got that
Come to the conference.
Right.
We're going to have lots more fun along these lines.
Sure.
I've got some fun stuff planned for that one.
And that offer's coming up in a moment too as well. So Lolly's saying thank you to us both. It went so quickly. Lovely. Oh, Harriet pulled a card for you, Moira. How lovely.
Oh,
she got the Knight of Wands, igniting passions all over the place. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
David's thanking everyone that's participated. Thank you, David, and us as well. We participated too. And so yeah, lots of thank you, and I've learned so much, and a beautiful session, and thank you also to us for putting the summit together. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm just gonna pop up the offers. Now what I suggest you do, peeps, is you click each one as it comes up, because I'm just going through in order. This happens to be my one, but I will get to Moira's. If you just click it so that it comes up in a separate tab for each offer, because we're going to get off the webinar. So just click to learn more on this one, and you've got 3 seconds to click this, because I'm going to remove it and then put the next one up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are only offers you can get on this webinar. All right, so click them all and then you can decide afterwards, but at least they'll be open. So the next one is the 20% off David's Light and Love Tarot Reading Festival in Montreal. And so you can just click Get My Ticket and that page will come up. You won't be purchasing. So just click that and it will stay open on your browser for when we are off. I haven't published that, sorry. It's up there now. As you can see, guests of honor are Rachel Pollock and Mary Kay Greer. They are like the two great
the grandmothers of
tarot.
Absolutely love them.
78 degrees of wisdom and tarot for yourself. Absolutely. So yeah, amazing. Okay, so click Get My Ticket. At least you've got that open then, the 20% off for you to look over at the afterwards. And final one is Letting Go and Finding Your Flow reading with Moira, and that's 40% off. And I think it will come up in Canadian dollars, but that's around half price, won't it?
Yeah, the exchange rate's about half, I think.
Yeah, okay. And you don't have to be in Canada. You do online, don't you? And so just like this, just like
we do it just like this. Yeah.
Fantastic. Excellent. So just click that now because that's going off in 1, 2, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Remove offer. Okay. And just a massive thanks to Moira. Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom.
It's been super fun.
We do try. It's definitely the way to learn this stuff, isn't it? It's interaction, fun, and play. So really felt a gorgeous, lovely kind of connection in terms of like, yeah, we're on the same track, which is brilliant. And so can't wait to meet you in the conference in September in Montreal in person, and maybe you'll meet some of the people on the webinar as well.
I would love that too.
And thank you, David, for supporting in the background and getting us out of the Mercury retro glitch, and everyone else who was trying to help as well by allowing yourself to maybe be seen. And thank you also for staying live. Those of you still here will get the intuitive bundle with Moira's checklist for differentiating between limiting beliefs and intuition, and also my ebook that kind of goes along and helps with that as well. That will be in your replay email. And we will see you next week. It's me with Laurie Lertle on, I'm not sure I'm saying her surname right. Do you know? I don't know. But on amulets, talismans, and manifesting with the tarot. So
that'll be an awesome session too.
Yes. Indeed. Thanks again, Moira. It's been excellent. It's been lovely connecting with you. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.